disaster for this development, particularly one of this size, where through the course of the day there could be up to 400 plus movements or more coming out into Mill Road, which is already becoming heavily congested. And at weekends it seems to be the main route from Upminster or Romford to get the back way to Lakeside. So we do suffer very, very heavily there. In fact, I've done a video the other week, and I think Mr. Casey in the chamber had a job even getting an interview off of me. That was the level of the traffic is along that road. Now, it's because of the entrance is so small, and I believe that is something to do with restrictions on, someone has brought up ransom strips and various other things. It seems to me that the developers are pushing profit in front of the consideration for the residents who live in Aveley, particularly along Mill Road. Now, it's not up to the residents to bear the forbearance of ransom strips. That's up to the developer to sort that out, because quite honestly, the entrance should have been through to the bypass or joining the new development that's going ahead now. In fact, we look upon it as being quite unacceptable that that small entrance, which I believe in the report has suggested pinch points, which means that two vehicles can't pass on that entrance road, and that's just not acceptable in itself. Now, I believe that developers should not put their financial pressure, as I said before, on the back of the residents and make their lives a misery for years to come. The same as the development next to the ransom strip would alleviate the fact, if they were overcome this ransom strip problem, would alleviate the whole problem of coming out into Mill Road. It would go onto the bypass, and there'd be no problems at all. So, if the developers don't want to change their plans and come to some sort of negotiation and put the entrance and exit into the bypass, then I believe that we should not be voting for this, or not me, rather the committee should not be voting for it. And also it concerns me that there's a total lack of social housing. I mean, I've been sitting here tonight and I constantly hear about families who are having to share with their parents or living in expensive renting accommodation. And we've got another site here where there's no social housing. We've got another site going to public debate, but there's only offering a quarter of the social housing it should be. And this is not acceptable. Can't have it always. And finally, we're also considering the fact of pressures on local amenities, i.e. doctors and local schools. So I think the local residents have overcome that forbearance, know they're going to face this, but we have got a problem with these vehicles coming out into Mill Road, because we see that as a disaster in the years to come. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, members. My name's John Jowis. I'm the planning consultant acting on behalf of Aveley Football Club. Now, it's been a long-standing policy of this council to provide a sports hub at Belfast Park, and I'm pleased that tonight we can make this a reality through this and the subsequent application. The fundamental purpose of these housing proposals is to fund the relocation of Aveley Football Club. As has been said, the two proposals go hand in hand. One can't happen without the other. You'll see that the Belfast Park proposals are more than just a replacement of the existing facilities and will benefit the wider community. Now, in terms of ensuring the link between the two sites, the mechanism, as it was called, the football club will continue to play at Millfield until the new facilities are completed, and this is expected to be in the closed season of summer 2015, so timing is critical. And that only at that point, once the football club has moved, will housing development commence. As you've seen, the applications make an outline, and the plans show how the proposal logically responds to the arrangements of existing housing. Dwellings can provide a garden-to-garden relationship, ensuring no harmful impacts on the daylight, sunlight or privacy of existing residents. And in respect of access, the point that's been raised, by your colleague, the improvement of the Mill Road Junction and the design of the access road has been agreed with your Highways Department and will be entirely suitable to serve the development. I can confirm that there's no objection to the use of the access through the adjacent Persimmon site, if that's possible, but the problem is the Ransom Strip, and you've heard about the issues that they have in terms of viability in order to provide the football club facilities. The proposals now before you will actually help to secure an alternative access, because if we can show that we have an access as shown, that will ensure there's no ransom and may help to secure the access through the Persimmon site. In terms of contributions, a development of this nature, has been said, will normally be expected to provide £5,000 a dwelling, plus affordable housing, about £570,000 plus affordable housing. The scheme before you provides about £522,000, as it said in your report. The new sports hub facilities will cost the football club in the region of £2.8 million, and it suggests that's a real contribution to the sports and recreation facilities of the local community. So the amount of housing and the timing is therefore vital. I suggest that the benefits of the proposal, in conjunction with those that you'll see for Bellows Park, are huge, and I hope you'll give the officer's recommendation your full support. Thank you.
It's like the access it needs, which is through the planned development next to it, and giving it permission with the rather odd road is one of the keys to doing that. So I think it's very reasonable that local residents have raised that concern, but it sounds from the answers that we've been given that actually we do have an answer to it.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Sure, I was going to talk about in the report, which is the lack of provision of affordable housing on the site. My understanding from the report is that the provision of the sports facility means that the provision of affordable housing is not a requirement that we seek. I think it is a little bit disappointing that it's not there, but overall for the benefit of the borough, I think we'll talk more about the proposed development in the next application. But I think again it's that as we've talked about previous applications, that we are giving something up for this development to happen, and I think that the provision to make sure that the benefits of the new site are very widely felt is very important. So I'm coming on the applicant to make sure that happens.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
The mix of housing is in line with the neighbourhood developments. I think it's St Michael's or something like that, where almost half the units of housing here will be 3-bedroom homes. So it augurs well for that development, and I'm pretty much in favour of it.
Okay. Anyone else? No? Any proposed reform? Anyone want to second it? Councillor Healy. All those in favour, please. Okay, and those against? Anyone abstaining? Okay. Right, so reference number 13/01021/FUL, Aveley Football Club, Mill Road, Aveley, has been approved.
Doubly motivated by the fact that initially it was established unlawfully over a bank holiday weekend. That generated a lot of controversy. So to take that out of the equation, perhaps it's better to think just about the site and about development on the site. So if, for example, a series of small industrial units of similar scale was being proposed on this site with access for sort of small to medium vehicles going in and out of there, would we consider that on this site? If it was a small housing development, there's 4 decent-sized plots there, sort of 4 decent-sized houses on plots, would we allow that in the green belt? And the answer is that we wouldn't. If it was possible just to pick a field anywhere in Thurrock and put a development of your choice on it, I'm sure that would be a very popular offer, and you'd have people from all over the country coming around saying, I'd like a little industrial unit, I'd like to put my house here, all that sort of thing. We've already talked about the purposes of the green belt, and the fact is the presumptions against this are not primarily about the fact it's a gypsy traveller site, they're about the fact that it's a development being plonked in a field in the middle of the green belt in quite a sensitive location, which is the main sort of barrier that prevents the coalescence of Stamford and Corringham and the edge of Basildon. So I think it is primarily just about the facts of Gypsy Travel site. It is about the location, the inappropriateness of development in that location. And in terms of personal circumstances, I mean, they always do tug your heartstrings, inevitably. I remember a number of applications that have come through this committee just in the time that I've been doing it, saying, I need this extension to my house because I want elderly relatives to live with me. I need to extend up into the loft because we've got children and this one has particular learning difficulties that means they need their own room and that sort of thing. But you have to think those circumstances, hugely important as they are for that family, are transient, but the development is forever once it's there. And we are primarily judging the development on its merits, not the social care needs of the family on their merits.
Thank you. Councillor Tola.
Chair, thanks, Chair. And Councillor Anderson is right. You do have you do have sympathy when there's a bereavement and those circumstances take place. I think my concern was really when I saw that it's a 5-year temporary application, then you start thinking what happens next. And to be honest, I wasn't really convinced by the answer I got that in terms of what happens next after those 5 years. So to me, 5-year temporary, then after that, there might be another proposal for another 5-year or whatever. And that's my main concern with this, so I do appreciate that. But on this case, I think I'll go with the officer's recommendation. Thank you, Chair.
Andy, you'd like to come in?
Chair, the conversation is moving towards, what's in front of it is very clearly a temporary consent. I'm always feel a little bit vulnerable, actually, when we have cases where a study or an Essex-wide study is incomplete, and we're obviously referring to policy, some of which, we have in place, some of which we haven't. To say that, well, actually there is provision to extend existing sites, well, actually, have they been extended? Are they now available? Is this family going to be on the verge next week and that promise isn't delivered upon, that they can turn up at the existing sites to claim to pay for their slot there? So I'm not sure we're in a very strong position. It is temporary permission. Yeah, you can assume what you like, but it is what it says in the paper. And until we get our act together and the Essex what study is done, I don't think that we can refuse this.
Thank you. Councillor Anderson.
Can I just ask a question on that? Because clearly, you're constantly looking to refresh your evidence base. But my understanding is that the provision we've got in our plan for 87 additional pitches and the strategy for how we're going to deliver those was in itself based on a robust evidence base. And the fact that we're aiming to move forwards and renew that evidence base doesn't mean that the old evidence base is somehow wrong or invalid.
No, just to come on to that point, whatever the assessment of need is, presumably in the forthcoming Essex-wide survey of provision that's required, won't change our CSTP3 policy, which seeks to meet it from existing sites or sites that would be tolerable, which this clearly isn't, because of whatever the Essex provision survey said when it comes out, no outcome from that survey would make this site permissible. Is that correct?
I take the opportunity to speak on behalf of this application. My name is Craig Johnson and I'm the Secretary of Aveley Football Club. Aveley Football Club has been in existence for over 85 years now. It currently runs senior teams down to youth level, ranging from 4 years of age to the senior section, including ladies and girls teams. Most of our teams have to leave the area and the borough, in fact, to play and train due to the lack of facilities. Our proposal this evening will provide the growing local community of Aveley and the surrounding areas with leisure facilities it desperately needs, which has been highlighted previously. This proposal provides a viable future for Aveley Football Club, allowing it to provide match and training facilities for all its members. The all-weather pitch in particular will have a major positive impact on sport participation, not only for our club, but for local people as well, many other teams. Unlike natural turf, it can be used every day of the week. The clubhouse will be available for numerous facilities, such as nurseries, keep fit classes, family celebrations, and we hope to increase our other sporting offers to include activities such as archery. These facilities will benefit many parts of the community, just not those that want to play football. Existing facilities are overused. Our existing facilities are overused and constrained. Furthermore, our members and other local sportsmen and women frequently have to travel to train and play elsewhere. We will no longer have to do that if our proposal is given the authority to proceed. We do understand and note the concerns of the members re the Model Flying Club, and I confirm that we have met with its members and offered assistance in identifying a suitable alternative site. Members will recall that this issue was raised at the time of the relocation of football pitches presently at the Fire Brigade site, Zabella's Park. We resolved to attach a condition to that planning condition, and we agreed to the same condition in respect of our application. In respect of the relocation of the Fire Brigade pitches, we have submitted plans to the Council, as Mr Gallagher has mentioned, and will continue to work with both parties. Last but not least, the applicant will bear the cost of the remediation of the former landfill site, presently a council responsibility. These represent a significant abnormal cost that needs to be overcome to secure these proposals. We therefore hope that the members will welcome these proposals, and we give them our full and your full support. Thank you.
Mr Johnson.
In the report is to do that by applying a condition, the same condition that we applied to the same objections when the previous look at this site was made. I would just urge everybody involved in that, including Councillor Curtis, I know has been doing a sterling job on it, to take that seriously. You know, it says they'll provide assistance and support. The council kind of has a veto on that. Let's not allow, oh, we didn't manage to find anything, to be the answer on that. Let's have a serious effort. If it involves a little bit of money going onto it to prepare another site for use or that sort of thing, then I think that's a reasonable price for the applicant to pay in order to support the relocation of people who will be using this site for a very long term.
Okay. Anyone else? Councillor Tolan?
Thanks, Chair. I'm looking at the merits of the application, to be honest. I'm quite pleased to see it come forward eventually. I know there are loads and loads of issues to be covered before we actually get to the stage, or well, at least before the applicant gets to the stage where you can actually turn over the sword, so to speak. But I think on the grand scheme of things, it's quite pleasing to see this level of development come to this area yet again with a wider view in mind. I'm aware that the council owns the land, it needs to go through cabinet and all those type of caveats and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's a proposal to improve sports and improve the lifestyle of the community. After the Olympics, we spoke about the Olympic legacy, and it's nice to see this coming forward to actually support that type of thing. So I'm pleased with all the people involved, and thank you, Chair.
Councillor Vidyard.
I think it's a fabulous opportunity to get a new football stadium and training pitches as well. But it's really tragic that the Flying Club could lose their ground. And I'm wondering whether it's possible to have some sort of condition that is put on that ensures that the Flying Club get an appropriate ground as part of this development.
Yes, absolutely, Chair. We need to
Councillor Healy. All those in favour, please. Okay. Those against? Abstentions? Oh, sorry. Okay. Right, so reference number 13/01022/FUL land at Palace Park, Park